Hello my friends and welcome back. It's Wednesday, it's hump day, middle of the week. Happy hump day to you. We begin today of a tutorial or a teaching how tariffs work. Look at this photo. I don't need to say no more. This photo says it all. You're trying to pee, but you're peeing up the wind. It's gonna end up in your face. This is how Trump's tariffs work, and I do agree with it. This is just a little appetizer for the video because, you know, Trump and Putin, they had their magical friendship call. We're going to go through all of it, what they talked about, what was promised. But to give you a little appetizer, we still got to go through, you know, this first. Dog tick, deer tick. And we got Trump as a lunatic. Hey, know your parasites. My friends, we live in crazy times with the informational warfare going on right now, not only with Russia, but now also with the United States. This is why I need good friends, good assets to do my work. One of these good assets is Ground News, #1 news comparison site in the world. We begin, I just want to show you how great you can actually shift through what you want to read and what you don't want to read. You go to For You, here you can click whatever interests you have. You can select your own interests. I just click Ukraine and Ukraine war, and that's all I see. And from there, I'll go even tighter to select the information I really want to see. I've taken as an example for you an article, which I also talked about in a recent video. Musk says he won't turn off Ukraine's access to Starlink communication system. Before that, he previously threatened many times to do that. And 70 sources cover this news. So you see it's widely covered and everybody has their own different agenda. This is where Ground News comes into play. They help you shift through people's agendas, news houses' agendas. For example, 11 is leaning left, 4 sources leaning right, 5 are center. And here, bias distribution, we can also see based on colors already 55% leaning left and 20% leaning right. And here you can see all different titles from different news houses. You can see how the wording in titles gives you an idea of their agenda. Well, before we shift through them, you gotta keep in mind, it has to be high factuality or extremely, very high factuality. Everything below that, you don't even wanna click at all. There's also this ownership tab, shows you who owns the news house because the owner always has an agenda. You can also see the ownership tab right next to the title right here. It's very easy way to shift through different titles, different news houses, and to find the one that you want to read, keeping garbage away from your brain. For example, Al Jazeera, be quiet, small man. Musk clashes with Polish PM over Starlink in Ukraine. I just covered this in my video. Musk actually replied to a Polish foreign minister, be quiet, small man, like he's some kind of a king after he threatened to turn off Starlink. Now, it's very important how news houses cover these kind of topics, because with the title and with your angle, you can divert people's opinions. This is why I gotta use an asset like Ground News in my videos, because I'm at the forefront of information warfare. With now Europe taking the lead in press and speech freedom, we need assets like Ground News. By the way, for a limited time, you can get the same plan I use every day for nearly half the price. Just go to ground.news/Artur or scan the QR code on the screen to get their unlimited access Vantage plan for just $5 per month. Or gift it to someone you know and have more informed conversations. Call out narratives and think critically about the stories shaping our world. I only promote brands I vet, and I do hope you find Ground News as valuable as I do in my work. Thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring today's video. And before we jump into it, my friends, I am obliged to thank the Buy Me a Coffee monthly members who are the foundation of this channel. Each and every one of you will get this patch. Just write to me a message and buy me a coffee and I'll be sending this out to you. Let's get to the names. They're juicy. Mika Hockerts, David Wiss, Jonathan Spachen, and Zipponius. We have 4 only, so if you want to make that list longer, just sign up as a monthly member. All right, first big topic, I'm gonna just jump into it immediately. Trump and Putin talk. They were supposed to talk yesterday. I mean, time differences here and there, but it was, I think, 4 p.m. Moscow time. Well, Or was it 5? Well, it doesn't matter. The time that they scheduled to talk is this moment right here. Putin was talking in a conference exactly at the right time to speak to Trump. Dmitry Peskov reminded him.
According to Dmitry
This is not Peskov, by the way, but Peskov gave the reminder to this guy.
Sergeyevich Peskov,
This guy is showing the watch to Putin, saying, hey, you're supposed to have a call with Mr. Trump, your personal dear heart friend. And let's see what Putin
with
does.
Donald Trump is supposed to happen before 6 o'clock. I don't know how accurate that is.
It's like, hey, don't worry about it. He can wait. Don't worry about it. And there's an entire public watching this. It's televised in Russia. This is a play to be consumed inside Russia to mock Trump, to humiliate Trump, and to lessen Trump.
Well, I don't
and
know.
Everybody is having so much fun. Look at these content Russian
now
faces.
We need to see what Trump's response is to this statement. Maybe he likes interviews. Let's do it. Maybe
Trump.
He will find out that we have a discussion.
Yeah, this happened yesterday at the exact moment they were supposed to have a call. So if you are from America and you don't know this, then yes, Russia just humiliated Trump in the face of everybody who was watching Russian television at that very moment. It was a public humiliation show. This is a Russian negotiation tactic, and unfortunately Trump has no idea what he's doing. This is how Putin goes into it, from a position of like a mental pedestal or like a triumph. Before it begins, he already goes into it with this mindset. This is not a Western style of communication. This is the Russian style of communication. Trump doesn't really understand it, so he cannot win in it. I don't know where Trump gets his arrogance or his confidence. He has no idea how to deal with Russia, and he thinks he does. This is the worst thing. If a person is dumb and doesn't know he's dumb, he can do a lot of damage, and Trump is exactly that person. You know, the phone call ended with Putin. It was 2.5 hours, whatever these soulmates were talking about, and then Trump tweets or publishes this. My phone conversation today with President Putin of Russia was very good and productive one. We agreed to an immediate ceasefire. First of all, no, they didn't agree. I'll get into it. Just let's get through these lies first. We agreed to immediate ceasefire on all energy and infrastructure, with an understanding that we will be working quickly to have a complete ceasefire and ultimately to end this very horrible war between Russia and Ukraine. This war would have never started if I were president. Many elements of contract for peace were discussed, including the fact that thousands of soldiers are, I'm done with it. All right. Anyway, lies. The call took a long time, so here is a transcript of what happens. Trump says, you hang up. Putin says, no, you hang up. Trump says, no, you hang up. And Budanov says, for Pete's sake. I know I'm making fun. We're gonna go through everything. Don't worry. I want to bring in humor, not to make this topic as bad as it really is, because it is bad. I mean, you see a kid with a revolver playing around. Trump has no idea what he's doing here. First of all, the Russian and United States versions of these 2.5 hours, the official versions they came out with, the public statements, they differ a lot. This already indicates to you that they completely understood differently, and these different versions indicate to us, actually we're going to go through them. We have a Russian and United States flag for people to understand better what the different sides publicly said they talked about. Let's get through it. Trump's recent call with Putin shows two very different stories. One from the White House, the other from the Kremlin. Here's a breakdown. We're gonna go through all of it to understand how naive Trump is, and that to show that Putin is playing Trump like a fiddle, and it's painful from my Estonian eyes to see. Number two, well, whatever it is, ceasefire agreement. American publication. Agreed to at the White House, agreed to a 30-day ceasefire targeting Ukraine energy infrastructure. Russia, same ceasefire, but only under conditions, meaning Russia will likely keep dictating terms. So they did not agree on that. Russia just said that we can agree to it, but there are conditions, and these conditions were impossible. Maritime ceasefire. White House published that Trump agreed to a Black Sea maritime ceasefire. Russia published they didn't even mention this in their publication. Why? Because Russia doesn't want to stop attacking Ukrainian ports. So Trump is claiming these phantom agreements with Russia. There was no agreements. Putin doesn't make agreements like that. Russia doesn't make agreements like that. If they do, they just don't care about it. They will continue firing whatever they want to fire on. We have centuries of experience on this, but Trump for some reason doesn't want to listen to that experience. Conditions of peace. The White House focused on humanitarian relief. Kremlin depends on Ukraine. The conditions for ceasefire are stop mobilizing Ukrainian troops, halt all foreign military aid to Ukraine, and number 3, accept Russian control over ceasefire lines and accept the 4 oblasts that Russia stole from Ukraine. By the way, these are conditions that these are the minimum conditions. And they're not up to Trump in any way. Ukrainian mobilization is up to Ukraine. Foreign aid is up to Europe because we are taking over the United States in the most money and military aid pledged in the next few months, actually. So Trump has no control over the EU and over Ukraine. He doesn't have a leverage. Our military-industrial complex in Europe is waking up, and you don't want to wake that sleeping giant up. If you do, I mean, even Trump is going to regret it. Russia definitely is going to lose. So I don't know what Trump is playing at, but he has no Trump cards. He cannot change that the EU is giving massive military aid to Ukraine. He cannot change that Ukrainians will keep mobilizing because it's a war of survival for them. I don't know what he's playing at. He has no cards. Humanitarian focus. The White House emphasized protecting civilians by pausing strike on Ukraine power grid. Russia called the release of 23 wounded POWs a goodwill gesture, as if their own war crimes aren't the reason for those soldiers they were captured in the first place. By the way, Trump claimed that Putin and Trump, that they settled on a prisoner of war exchange, 175 prisoners of both sides. The exchange is supposed to be happening like right now. This exchange was accepted weeks ago already between Zelensky and the Russian parts. Like, Trump has nothing to do with this. He just claimed that he did that. It's just a blatant lie. It's clear that he's trying to show to American people and to his supporters that he somehow did something, that something came out of this call. But if you know Russians like we do here in Estonia, you know how to read between the lines. Nothing came out of this call except for the same demands Putin has made 3 years now. I'm going to leave it at that. The next step, as described by Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, is for Trump to reunite with his good friend, the war criminal Putin, and rebuild United States-Russian relations. For that to happen, he must either force Ukraine to capitulate, which Trump cannot do because Ukraine is massively producing and advancing their own produced drones and missiles and everything. Bogdana, the self-propelled howitzer, 155mm artillery round production. Everything they're doing now is to pivot away from dependency on America. Everything Europe is doing is to do the same, and Europe and Ukraine together, they can fight this war to the victory without the United States. If Trump wants that and his supporters want that and say, hey, that's Trump's goal to get out of this war, well, congratulations, America. You're out of this war, but we will keep fighting it until victory. For those who say that the results of the Trump-Putin call were good for Ukraine, the following needs to be understood. Number 1, the US has no new approved aid for Ukraine. All that is left is the remaining Biden aid, which is running out. Number 2, Trump has not actually put any new sanctions on Russia. And number 3, Trump and Putin are closely coordinating their actions and remain happy to work with each other. And immediately after the phone call, I mean, this is insane. If you read 1984, you know, like with the Eurasian Union in that book, how fast the enemy changed to a friend and a friend to an enemy, and it has always been like that. There's no history, right? Well, this is how it is in Russia. The SVO, Specialne Военные Операции in Russia, which is a special military operation, that sign was at the front of the United States Embassy in Russia. Immediately after the talk, the sign changed to "We are together," which is insane. It's exactly 1984, where the enemy immediately changed to a friend and a friend immediately changed to an enemy. And it has always been like that. What are you talking about? So this is insane, what's happening. So what the White House claimed that, oh, we settled on a ceasefire. Putin never claimed that. Russia and Kremlin never claimed that. Trump claimed it because he wants something to show to his supporters, because he is unable to change the course of this war in any way. He has given away all his leverage. Well, a few hours after the White House claimed that they have talked and settled on a ceasefire, Russia attacked Ukraine with a massive missile attack, including Ukraine's energy infrastructure in Slovyansk. Power systems in Slovyansk were targeted. I mean, Trump said that he got Putin to stop attacking Ukrainian energy infrastructure. Putin, a few hours after that, attacks Ukrainian energy infrastructure. Again, before the call began, Putin humiliated Trump publicly on the Russian live TV. And after the call, Putin humiliated Trump because the White House claimed there would be no more attack on Ukrainian energy infrastructure, and then Putin orders an attack on Ukrainian energy infrastructure. Again, showing Trump's naivety and unfortunately that he has no experience of dealing with the Russians. All right, I'm done with that. I have to save my myself from the topic. We'll jump to Germany, because Germany is doing something right. They are remilitarizing, but this time it's going to be different. Yeah, first and second time, okay, it went too bad, but now they're going to be on our side. And that's a very big wow. The German parliament approved changes in the German constitution, Grundgesetz, oh damn that word, which will allow Germany to extend military and security expenditures basically without limits. Votes, yes, 513, no, 207. Whatever it takes. And Germany is and has been a sleeping giant ever since the Second World War. They completely took over the American offered system of free trade and capitalism. It has really worked out well for them. Now they're free of the Russian gas and everything, and their economy is not doing that good now. But with this massive pumping of money into the military-industrial complex of Germany, which is very powerful, the dragon has been awoken. And Russians have quite painful experiences with that dragon. Europe is poised all within a few months to now be completely reliant of itself for defense. Was it worth America all for 60 billion? And I already illustrated that in the previous video that, I'm sorry if I'm mistaken with the numbers, but the ballpark is correct here, that American weapons export 22, 23 and 24, every year it has almost doubled with the billions. It was 10, then it was 30, now it's 80 billion in 24. That is going to go down. Because with American weapons, you also buy their system, their security guarantees, their maintenance, everything America stands for. If Trump now dismantles those invisible perks you get with American weapons, the security guarantees and the ideas they stand for, you don't want to buy the American weapons anymore. You want to buy European because we know what we stand for and you get those guarantees. We got to fight for our own continent here. So it's not 60 billion. We're talking loss for American weapons orders in the next 10 years, perhaps hundreds of billions. And those orders will go to Germany, Sweden, and South Korea. These three nations are like the Western biggest producers that can substitute for American production. And that is a direct loss for American companies and American money into the government, basically. It's revenue. It's money lost. Here is what the upcoming and awaited Chancellor Moiz has to say about this. He's soon to be German Chancellor, and I'm putting my money on him. I like the way he speaks. The war that Putin is waging today is not only a war against Ukraine, it is a war against all of Europe. I stand by every last damn word of that, because we have been screaming that from Estonia for the last forever and nobody listened. We had a pro-Putin Chancellor Merkel, which was doing so much harm that we will have to fix it for the next 100 years. Then we had Scholz, which was a Chancellor without balls. He was afraid of his own shadow. Now finally, Germany has awoken. Thank you, German people, for voting like that. Russia's war against Europe is already being waged using various methods, including cyber attacks, sabotage, and disinformation campaigns. And I'm glad Germany is this time on our side. Honored to fight side by side with them. Europe to send 40 billion euros worth of military support to Ukraine. For perspective, over 3 years, United States delivered to Ukraine a grand total of around 46 billion worth of weapons out of 65.9 billion committed. The rest of the money was spent in America. So with that, in the next few months, this will be agreed upon. With that, Europe steps into the void left by America as a military superpower supporting Ukraine against Russia. Somebody had to take that spot. We will be taking that spot. That's a massive loss of money in weapons orders lost to the United States. I don't know why Trump as a businessman doesn't see it. He has friends of CEOs. Some of these CEOs own massive United States military companies, and these companies are losing orders in the next 10 years because we're buying from other sources. We're buying from Sweden, Germany, and South Korea. Aren't these CEOs calling Trump and saying, hey, what are you doing? We want these hundreds of billions back. This is how I understand it, because tanks are money and we're going to order from some other place. For example, I talked about Germany and Sweden, but there's France. France is no pushover. France's military-industrial complex accounts for more than 25% of all European military capacity, and they will spend about 70 billion in defense spending in the next 5 years. They're going to go to 70. That's the plan right now, which is about 3.5% of the GDP. For France and for Germany, these numbers are massive. Their economies are strong and big, and we're talking 3.5%. Ooh, that is beautiful. By the way, Poland is close to 5% and Estonia has plans, and we intend to go to 5% of the GDP in the next 5 years. We're right now something 3 to 4% in between of that. One of the biggest percentage in all of NATO. United States and Poland also are there. We're in the top 3. So we don't mess around with that stuff. We're serious. By the way, to show how serious we are, Lithuania, Poland, Latvia and Estonia have announced their withdrawal from the Ottawa Convention of Anti-Personnel Mines. I stand by it with every cell of my body. Russia doesn't care. They're using so many butterfly mines, anti-personnel mines, any kind of mines, even chemical mines they can. So if we limit ourselves, it's a war of survival for all of us. I ain't gonna limit myself if I need to protect my homeland, my culture, and my family. I'm so glad my government did this. Basically, the Ottawa Convention prohibits the use of anti-personnel mines, the butterfly mines, for example, that you can just saturate an area with very fast. We pulled out of that. And we're going to buy these mines. And we're going to saturate the border area with them so much that no Russian soldier will get to our land with the feet attached to the body. No way. I mentioned how Germany will be a military giant, but we talked about France, Sweden, South Korea. But Ukraine itself, let's look at the sheer numbers. In 2024, the Ukrainian military-industrial complex produced weapons worth of $10 billion. 2022, it was $1 billion. 2023, it was $3 billion. 2024, it was $10 billion. 2025, expected to produce 30 to 35 billion of value of weapons. Well, Ukraine is producing their own Neptune missiles, Bogdana howitzers, they're producing mortars, producing artillery rounds, massive amount of drones. There will be nothing soon that they will not produce. And when this war is over, or whenever they're going to produce a surplus, they're going to sell that to the rest of the world, and everybody wants to buy, because these weapons are produced in wartime situation. They have the first-hand experience and testing how they will work against an enemy. Everybody wants to buy that insight. We want to buy that. So they will be a military giant. Now, my friends, I am honored to bring to you former Estonian Prime Minister Kaja Kallas, whose family has had decades of experience of how to deal with the Russians, because his father and uncle and everybody's connected to it. They go way back. It's 1 minute, bear through me. If you are an American, you maybe are questioning how to really deal with the Russians. In 1 minute, here is the tutorial.
Russia is making the demands, Russia is threatening, and now if we think that, oh, let's offer them something, then they actually get something that they didn't have before. And I've quoted this foreign minister, Alexei Gromyko, Soviet time foreign minister, several times, who said about the negotiation tactics of Soviet Union. 3 things. First, demand the maximum. Do not ask, but demand something that has never been yours. Second, present ultimatums, threaten. And third, do not give 1 inch in negotiations, because there will be always people in the West who will offer you something. And then in the end, you will have 1/3 or even 1/2 of something you didn't have before.
She explains it beautifully, and that's exactly by the word that went down with the call between Putin and Trump. Trump has no idea what he's doing, and he's right now appeasing Russia. He's appeasing them, playing right into the Soviet foreign playbook of demand and return and negotiations with the West. And Russia has perfected that. Putin has been in power for 20 years. He played Merkel like a fiddle for 10 years. He just pulled the strings. He's playing Trump right now, and Americans, by the millions of them, are not seeing this. It pains me. It's the playbook is right there. It's not even a secret. It's a published book of how Russians negotiate with the West. They follow an exact book guidelines, and America, for some reason, is exactly stepping into the trap. It's really painful for Estonians to see, but they want to F around and find out. Unfortunately, they're going to find out. And now I just want to enjoy myself. We don't really like fascism here in Europe. Of course, I'm going to pivot into Tesla, because everything Tesla's... Yeah, I know. I got some comments before saying, "Oh, Artur, you're wrong. Tesla actually makes great cars." I never liked their cars. I never liked Elon Musk way before then everybody loved him. I never liked him. Maybe it's my personal opinion. I understand some of you are very big EV fans. I ain't a EV fan. I have a Mitsubishi Pajero. You know that car. It's a damn tank. You don't even notice when the curb is going. You just go over it. It has a big engine. Big, old school tractor diesel engine. That's what I like to drive around with. I like these fancy EVs. And Elon Musk, I don't know. For me, it's a bubble of air, honestly. And here, they're boycotting Tesla in Europe. Love what I'm seeing, really do. Tesla stock has fallen 50% from the start of this year. I hope it falls 50 more. This is United Kingdom, London, and I gotta give massive respect and credit. This is somebody paid for this. These advertisements are not cheap. Somebody put the money just to do this. And I'm so glad they are, because this is the truth. X marks the rot. Delete your account. I also have an X account, but and a beautiful fall of the Tesla stock. I love it. I hope it goes to zero. I have no respect for the car itself and for Elon Musk. Never had. As I said, even when everybody loved Elon Musk, I bought a Mitsubishi Pajero used. Massive old diesel engine that just goes through everything. That's what I like to drive around with. Never was a fan of those fancy EVs. And here we have a woman driving a Tesla. Ooh, Tesla, yeah. Oh, she's doing something. She's plowing a field in a beach. What's going on? What is she doing? She's drawing something with this fancy new electric vehicle. What is it? What is she drawing? And it's a beautiful work of art on a beach. Don't buy a Tesla. I stand by it. Thank you, Ms. Woman, for doing this piece of art. It's beautiful. You're a true artist. Don't buy a Tesla. Let it rot in hell. All right, my friends, I went through everything as fast as possible. I respect your time. I don't want to waste it, so I think you know everything that is most important right now. I'll keep you posted. By the way, my friends, every Saturday you will get an extra video, extra analysis. Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, plus Saturday. So this is not a Ukraine update like I do these ones. This is a written analysis. I read it from a teleprompter. It's researched, written. It's an in-depth look into some topics connected to Ukrainian war. So I can publish it before early access, and I usually do. Right now we have an early access video out. It's only for channel members, so but the membership is like, what, 99 cents? It's the cheapest possible. So just sign up for the channel. It's join on the YouTube. 99 cents and you get like 4 extra videos early access per month. It's a good deal. All right, my friends, until my next video, which will be on Friday, Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye. Call out narratives and think critically about the stories shaping our world. I only promote brands I vet, and I do hope you find Ground News as valuable as I do in my work. Thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring today's video.